The fingerprints of Trump cronies are just all over the Brazilian insurrection attempt that is going on. We spoke earlier in the show of the imagery from Brazil over the last 48 hours, which looks just like the imagery from January 6, 2021 in the United States in Washington, D.C. Protesters with flags, different flags, yes, breaking down police barriers and overwhelming police to get into legislative buildings. In the U.S., it was mostly the House of Representatives. In Brazil, they were in the Senate, the federal Senate. Extraordinary similarities. And it's important to go back and really understand how this all came to be something that people thought of doing in this particular way at this particular time. When it happened here in the United States, the organizers, the inciters, the inspirers were not punished in any real way. Oh, I know, QAnon shaman and the people who, broke a window, they were punished. But the people who were fomenting the insurrection at the top level, at least for now, have not been held accountable. We'll see what happens. The January 6th committee, which is now disbanded, has submitted its report. We'll see what Merrick Garland decides about charges. But it's not just, oh, look, they did it in the U.S. That's something we could do. As I told you in the earlier part of the show, Trump aides Steve Bannon and Jason Miller. Wait, was it Jason Miller or Stephen Miller? That's actually a good question. It is Jason Miller. Okay. Trump aides Stephen Bannon and Jason Miller were advising the Bolsonaros on what are the next steps. This is an article from November of 2022 in the Washington Post. While tens of thousands of supporters of Bolsonaro camp outside military facilities across Brazil to protest his election loss, members of Bolsonaro's inner circle are meeting with advisors to former President Donald Trump to discuss next steps. Brazilian Congressman Eduardo Bolsonaro, the president's son, has visited Florida since the October 30th vote, meeting Trump at Mar-a-Lago, strategizing with other political allies by phone. Look at this. He spoke with former Trump strategist Stephen Bannon, who was in Arizona helping Kari Lake, about the power of the pro-Bolsonaro protests and potential challenges to the Brazilian election, Bannon said, or election results, Bannon said. Sounds pretty similar. He lunched in South Florida with former Trump campaign spokesman Jason Miller, now CEO of the social media company Getter, and discussed online censorship and free speech. Neither Trump nor Eduardo Bolsonaro responded to requests for comment. And then, of course, we have all sorts of interesting videos that we can look at. First, we look at Donald Trump's address to the people of Brazil. This was right before the vote, starting to talk with the same language. It would really be bad for your country if you let Bolsonaro lose.
And I just have to say that I'm very proud of your last vote and will be even more proud of your current vote, October 30th.
Right.
Because you have a chance to elect one of the great people in all of politics and in all of leadership of countries. He's respected by everybody. Other leaders, I can tell you, including myself, respect him at the highest level. President Bolsonaro, he is doing a fantastic job for your country. He's bringing it back like nobody could. And I just say he has my complete and total endorsement. He's a great man. He loves his country. And let him do his job. Brazil is taking a whole new place in the world. You're being respected all over the world because of your president.
Now understand, that's the same incorrect stuff that he would say about himself. The playbook is identical. The world finally respects the United States under me, Donald Trump. No, you look at Gallup polling, and other than Russia and Turkey, I believe it was, the world respects the U.S. less than ever under Donald Trump. And similarly, the world has mostly been horrified, had mostly been horrified when President Bolsonaro was indeed president.
Don't lose.
Oh, we lost the video. All right. Quite a glitch. All right. Well, no problem. You get the gist of it. We then go to November 2nd. November 2nd, when Mike Lindell, also known as Mike Pillow, the CEO and founder of My Pillow, says, hey, I'm actually friends with Eduardo Bolsonaro, and my cyber guys have been watching it, and it was all rigged. It's the same language. Here, it's all the same inputs, so you end up with the same output.
Everybody, remember, we were watching the Brazil election.
Oh, yeah.
Our cyber guys were watching, and they took that we know of was 5.1 million votes, and through the machines. Remember, everybody, over there, as Brandon looks for that, in Brazil, I'm friends with their the president's son, Eduardo Bolsonaro. He's also
Bolsonaro, by the way. It's the same stuff, right? The machines, my cyber guys, 5 million votes. It's all wacky.
a friend of the station. His dad is the president there and they tried to get paper put in where at least the machines would you'd hit a button and it would print out a paper copy so
Right.
that you could do an audit. That got voted down by the corrupt judges. So the judges over there voted that down. We don't want a paper trail. So they have peer machines, everybody. When I say peer machine, there's no paper. It's just a tap, boom, 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 boom. So whatever that tells you, whatever program's inside, here's who won. Ding, ding.
Yep. So it's the exact same stuff that he's been saying here. It's the same playbook, guys. It's all the same. Bannon said the same stuff. Pillow said the same stuff. Trump said the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. We go now from November 2nd to November 20th. At that point, Pillow was ready to make even bolder claims, which were Brazil's Supreme Court actually rigged the election. He was ready to be more bold in his claims.
These back off on getting paper. So they whether they blackmail, corrupt, threatened, whatever they did, are these convinced, some of them, let's say convinced, I don't know how they convinced them, to...
Yeah. And then we got to November 23rd, at which point Stephen Bannon was straight up trying to instigate a coup in Brazil.
Look in the streets of Brazil. Look at the great patriots in Brazil that at a lot of danger to themselves have come forward and are in the streets of Brazil. And quite frankly, as much as I love the Bolsonaros, and Eduardo I think is going to speak tomorrow, and there's no better man on this globe than Eduardo Bolsonaro or his father. In Brazil, it's gone beyond the Bolsonaros. This is the people saying, no, you didn't follow the Constitution. You use these machines, you use the judiciary to shut us down in the media, and we're not going to tolerate it. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Same in the United States. You know, the people like Carrie Lake are not going to give up, and I use as a warning in the great fight that you guys have in front of you, both for the cultural issues, for the political issues, and the economic issues. Once they start taking and digitizing the elections, once they start going to machines where you can't get paper ballot, you don't have proof of ID, you take it away from the precincts, and they start to centralize it in collection centers, that's all done for one reason. That's to consistently steal elections.
So it's the same bullet points, same talking points. This is it's fascistic rhetoric. And, you know, that was November 23rd. And listen to Bannon saying, it was interesting, Carrie Lake's not going to give up. Carrie Lake's not going to give up. Carrie Lake's not going to give up. And indeed, she has kept going and going and going and going, despite the fact that she lost. And that's the idea. You don't allow the election results to get in the way of you taking power, because that's all that matters at the end of the day. It's extraordinarily dangerous. So we're going to move on from the topic of Brazil for today, and we'll continue to track what happens. But I think it's important to say that we need to watch very closely how or if this is handled differently in Brazil than it was in the United States. And we saw the busloads of people getting arrested right away, and that's good. We'll see if the military makes a broader statement about there's nothing here. Lula's the legal president. That's it. We're behind Lula. We're going to track all of it. We'll see where the differences are, and subsequently we'll be able to say what the different outcomes are and the impact on the country. In the U.S., we're ripe for another one of these because the instigators have not been punished. We'll see if Brazil handles it in a different way.